everyone. My name is Diego Alfonso, and I'm your host with the Florida Aviation Network. We are broadcasting free and in the clear from the U.S. Sport Aviation EXPO at the Sebring Airport in Sebring, Florida. Today, our guest is Steve McCaughey. I hope I got that right. And he's executive director of the Seaplane Pilots Association, where there is a lot of fun, I understand. Steve, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Diego. So it's great to be here, and thank you guys. You're always a big part of all the shows, and we greatly appreciate it.
Well, you do a great job for the aviation industry as a whole, not only on the seaplane world, but, everywhere else. And so this is what this is all about, promoting aviation no matter what.
Yeah, this Light Sports Show is a great show here in Sebring. We've had some weather challenges this year, but we successfully pulled off several workshops and safety seminars, and I think, the crowd's out today and enjoying the show, so it's good to see. We
really hope that it's working. I believe the weather calls for everything clearing up in the afternoon, so we're looking... it's going to be a little windy.
It is windy out there.
It's going to be challenging, for whoever is going to be flying. But overall, I think it's a great event.
It's
a great success.
It's a great event.
And I was telling Phil Lockwood, which I know you know, how this LSA thing, how it's a change in not only aesthetically outside, the aerodynamics of it, but the inside of the airplanes. I mean, they're making them really comfortable.
Yeah, if you look at the new Technams and the Carbon Cubs, the interiors have come a long way.
Yes.
There's a lot of innovation. There's a lot of new materials, and they look good. They look good inside.
And the design of the cockpit itself, I'm on the big side, and on some of them I feel comfortable.
Yeah, that's great, isn't it?
Way back they were like really tiny and kind of hard to get in and out and everything else. But the evolution has been to the point that they have made some great machines out there.
The last 10 years have really been incredible, and the Rotex engines are coming a long way. The engine technologies, you look at the Icon, we've got the MVP here. The Cub Crafters, Carbon Cub. There's so many new designs, and they're fresh, and you're seeing a lot of good activity.
Every time we talk about seaplanes, I always tell the story. My flight instructor used to tell me is you're only a half a pilot.
Thank you. Yeah,
if
we'll make you a real pilot.
If you only have a land rating, you only have a pilot. You become a full pilot when you have your seaplane. Actually, it was a three-part thing. It says you got to have your instrument, your land, and your sea.
And your tail wheel.
Well, assuming that assuming that you came up that way.
Yeah, and so that's what we tell people. When people come to the booth, I'll say, "Oh, welcome. You're a pilot, or you're a land pilot. Well, we'll make you a real pilot."
And the nothing against the new pilots. You learn to fly on a tricycle aircraft, but they have no idea when they hear people say, well, you really haven't flown an airplane until you fly a tail dragger. They really don't understand why. Yeah. And there is a big difference on a tail dragger. Once you touch down, the plane will do the rest almost by himself. When in a tail dragger, when you touch down, that's when you start working.
Well, that's it. As your speed decreases in a tail dragger, it gets more intensive. It becomes more difficult to control, where in a 172 or a nose gear airplane, as you get slower, it gets easier. In a tail dragger, it gets harder. And so what we see as seaplane with seaplane pilots is when someone comes to us to learn how to fly a seaplane, if they've already flown a tail dragger, if they have a tail dragger endorsement, they're much better equipped and they'll go through the course a lot faster. But either one, when you enter the seaplane training program, you're going to get better stick and rudder skills. You're going to get used to flying low to the water and low to the trees and the ground, and that's things that most pilots aren't used to.
Exactly. And there is another dimension to that a lot of pilots don't understand. What goes with having a seaplane is all those beautiful places that you cannot go unless. Why don't you tell us about that? Why don't you tell them just a little bit about that?
Well, on the extreme side, you can get married in a Grumman albatross over the Grand Canyon like I did. But that's on the extreme side. But here in Florida, especially, in my county, in Polk County, where Sun and Fun resides, we have 800 lakes in one county. 780 are open to seaplanes, and many of those don't have roads to them or any other access. And so you can be very close to a metropolis, whether it be Orlando or Tampa or any major metropolis in the United States. And within 10 or 15 minutes, you can access lakes and areas that most people can't get to simply because there aren't roads to do so. So it really opens your horizons. And what we're finding is, we can go into marinas, we can go into restaurants that are waterfront. So we get to enjoy all the same activities as boaters in many ways, except we get to fly to go there. So you get the best of both worlds, flying and boating and a lot of adventure in the meantime.
Sure, and a lot of secluded places and
great.
a lot of fishing from pontoons.
Yeah, fishing and camping. We go out to a place in Maine that's 100 miles from the nearest paved road. And it's just spectacular. The fishing is great, and they have gardens out there and little log cabins and boats. And so what you can access from the seaplanes and the world that it opens up. I just got back from Australia. We go up to Alaska every year. And it really does open up new horizons. And in most states where you go, if you travel at all, you can go to a seaplane school and go up with an instructor. So once you get that rating,
exactly,
even if you don't own one, whether you go to Louisiana or Washington State, you can find someplace where you can go up with an instructor and increase your skills and learn
exactly. And if you're going to fly, if you're going to spend money flying, why not put it to a
That's right.
rating?
Something that's really fun. Yeah, so it counts as your BFR.
Exactly.
If you do a rating, what we tell people is getting your seaplane rating is probably the least expensive rating you ever do, and it's also the most fun you're ever going to do. And about 6 hours of training, 2 to 3 days, the average person can get their rating. It's going to be highly enjoyable. It's going to give them better stick and rudder skills, and they're going to have the seaplane smile. Once you get the seaplane smile, it just doesn't go away. So you can always spot a seaplane pilot out there in
That's
the crowd.
right.
So.
And then you learn to fly only in shorts and sometimes with no shoes.
That's right. Flip-flop flyers. We call them flip-flop flyers.
Because all depend on the environment, But I have an interesting anecdote. I lived in Jersey for about 23 years.
Okay.
There was a lake that half of the lake was in Jersey and half of the lake
in New York.
Greenwood Lake.
Yep, and you taxi across. You land in New York and taxi to the New Jersey shore.
That's right, because in New York you were not allowed. Let me see.
In New Jersey, you're not allowed.
In New Jersey, you were not
yeah.
allowed to fly in and out,
Yeah.
but in New York, you did.
So we're working on New Jersey. That's one of our big advocacy roles. So for the Seaplane Pilots Association, our primary role is protecting and promoting seaplane flying. So advocacy is at the top of our charter. And oddly enough, our association was founded in Little Ferry, New Jersey.
Yeah, I know exactly where that is. By the bridge.
And so you cannot land seaplanes there today. And New Jersey is one of those
I didn't
few
know that.
states that is just not very seaplane friendly. So they're high on my list of states that we're going to work on to get more water access. But oddly enough, New Jersey does not have much access. And literally, we were born there, our association.
What you say is that you cannot. There's no more seaplane over there.
Very little
Okay.
access in New Jersey. Much less so than Florida or other.
No, but
states.
I mean in
Not in Little Ferry.
Little Ferry.
No,
oh
not in
my
Little
God,
Ferry.
that place was always humming.
I know, it's a great place.
Actually, I had a
Very
very good
historic.
friend of mine that flew out of there, and for instrument approaches, they had there was a bar called the Nine Coins, and it had a real big neon sign, and that was the outer marker.
There you go. We've seen everything. When you're coming across from the Bahamas now, the Seminole Casino has this big LED light board. And when you're coming from Bimini, 40 miles out, you can see this light board. And if you fly straight towards the light board, you line up with Fort Lauderdale International Airport. So it's our big ILS out there.
Yeah, I mean, back in the day, a lot of people were very creative. And I had a very good friend of mine. He passed away of natural causes. And he was a superb pilot and, of course, a seaplane pilot. And that's what, if the weather was, I'm not talking critically low, but they had ways to just go there and they go to the river and boom, you're in. And
Yeah, well, that's the beauty. If we're flying a seaplane and if we're over water, we're always in the takeoff or landing phase, right?
yeah, that's right.
So anytime the ceiling's coming down, we can go right back down. But it's amazing. It does make you a lot better pilot. It makes you a lot more in tune also. You know, it's funny. I'll be flying over Winter Haven, and there's about 36 lakes within a 3-mile radius of Winter Haven Airport, and I'll hear people calling on the radio, you know, what's the wind? And I'm looking down, and I can see all the wind streaks, and I can see the glassy water on the upwind side of the lake, and I'm like, why are they calling for wind? All you have to do is look down. So it does increase your pilot skills, learning how to fly a seaplane.
And confidence, too.
Absolutely.
And reactions, because you fly lower normally than you would anywhere else. And so you're always ready for, if something comes up, you know, you can react a lot quicker.
We don't have people making those long paved straight lines for us to land on.
No. However, if we need to, we
can use
do.
them. Yes, we can.
That's right.
Yes, yeah.
We can land on the grass. We can land on asphalt. I mean, on asphalt, probably there's going to be some damages.
A little bit of damage. You can do it once or twice. But on grass, it's very common to land our floats to do maintenance on an airplane.
I remember in Teterboro, this must have been late 60s, they did a demo, and they wetted the grass, and they had like 2 or 3 seaplanes come in, and they landed, and then they took off again. They did touch and go.
There you go.
You know, right now the grass was wet, but no damage.
Yeah.
No damage to the thing. So seaplane, it's something that
It's the ultimate off-road adventure vehicle.
Exactly. And the thing that I would like to do is, you mentioned Alaska. I would like to do that, because we've been to Alaska on a cruise. You know, I've seen them flying. Yeah. Everybody has one over there. It's like they use it for everything, you know. So that's something that I would like to experiment. And you've flown in Alaska?
Oh, yes. Every year for the last 15 years.
So
if you want to fly there, you know, I might know someone that might be able to help you do that.
Oh, cool. Because we're planning, probably next year, we're planning to go to, we're planning to drive from Seattle.
Okay.
To, this is like 1,800 miles to where we're going.
So I'm flying a 206 Amphib this year from Sun and Fun to the Alaskan Airmen Show in Anchorage.
Oh, yeah,
that'll be a nice flight.
Yeah,
I'm
that's
really looking forward to that.
That's a long cross country.
A little bit. Yeah, I'll get a couple hours on that one.
Yeah, I'd say it'll take you a few days. Well, yeah, probably a few days, because you don't want to kind of rush the whole thing. And providing that you get weather.
When you get into a seaplane, you don't rush. Yeah,
that's right.
There's a placard on the panel that says "No rush, slow down."
It's a different.
Enjoy.
It's a different pace. It's a different. I remember one time in the early days, you know, they were giving lessons on professionalism for CFIs, and they made a big emphasis on clothing. You know, the tie, this and that, and of course that works. I mean, if you are in a land base. But if you're on a seaplane base, you can't do that. So it's very loose, very
relaxed, very casual. So just remember that if you're considering a career in seaplane flying. I was doing some training at a flight school in Orlando, and the chief instructor came out, and he was giving my instructor a hard time because his shirt was untucked, and I walk in shorts and docksiders and my shirt's untucked, and they were like, "What's this?" And I'm like, "This is my uniform."
Exactly. Because it goes with the territory.
That's right.
And
I have jeans on today, and I don't think many people have seen me in jeans ever, but it's a little bit chilly and windy out there. But normally, I don't ever wear long pants.
We have to change the scenery here and there. Now, to join the Seaplane Pilot Association, how do we go about doing that?
It's very easy. Just go to seaplanes.org, seaplanes.org. Go to our website. There's a big button right on the homepage. It says Join or Renew, and or you can call the number on the website as well, and we'll sign you up. We have a scholarship program for youth 18 to 25 years old. We award 12 fully paid zero-cost seaplane ratings per year.
Wow.
Seaplane school of the recipient's choice anywhere in the United States. We have an app that tells you where you can land and where you cannot land. It also tells you if you want to look up what school that you want to train at, what kind of aircraft. You can say, I want to fly a 172 and do my single engine C rating, and I want to do it in Minnesota. And if there's any schools in Minnesota that do single engine C ratings with a 172 float plane, it'll tell you which schools have it and give you all their information. So it's a very useful tool. We have Waterflying Magazine, full color glossy magazine. We have just endless resources. We do about 50 safety seminars a year.
Right.
So,
and plus the knowledge and expertise that rubs off just by being in the association.
Yeah, it's a great resource. You get around a group of people that are out there living it and doing it. And if you ever need to know anything about this question or that question, you can get that help very easily.
Now, although we have talked before, I never asked you this question. Are you a land pilot also?
Yes, I started out. So I very quickly I did PPL, single engine land, and then did my high performance complex. Then went to tail dragger, and then immediately went to John Brown 30 years ago and did my seaplane rating. And then did my multi-land and multi-sea and an amphibious tail dragger. And then went from that and immediately did my Grumman Albatross type rating.
Cool. That's a nice airplane. That's a big airplane.
Big airplane. 36,000 pounds, 100-foot wingspan.
I see the one. There's one at the Fort Pierce Airport.
Yep.
One or two? I see.
Yeah, there's a couple there.
There's a couple there. It's an impressive airplane.
Amazing airplane.
How much time we have? 2 minutes. In 2 minutes, can you...
in 2 minutes.
In 2 minutes, can you tell us any war stories that you had?
Any worse stories? I don't want to tell bad stories. I want to tell good stories.
No. If you're here, that means it was okay.
So they're all good stories. They're all learning stories. God, there's so many. So essentially here again, go out and expand your horizons, and don't be afraid. One thing about flying a seaplane or anything else is you're going to push your skill limits. Yeah. So there are going to be times where things don't work out. But, be safe, go out with an instructor, do what you can, and you'll have a good time. I've landed on and taxied up to moving barges in the Mississippi River. We've gone out to oil rigs in the Gulf of Mexico. Wow. And pulled up at the oil rigs and moored on them. Bad stories. There is no bad story in a seaplane.
Well,
They're all good.
A
bad day in a seaplane is a pretty good day.
That's right. That's right. That's right. Well, Steve, I've just been given the signal that
the hooks are coming.
There you go. And time goes fast when we're really having fun. Again, it's always a pleasure to talk to you. The job you guys are doing to promote aviation is terrific, and we wish you all the luck in the world, and stay dry.
Thank you, sir.
Very important. Folks, we're coming to the end. My name is Diego Alfonso, signing off from Sebring, Florida, with the Florida Aviation Network.